Hey team, Kate here from Take It Back Reactions, and today I've got a song for you. I was only 19, and this is from the Australian folk and political music group Redgum. Now, some of you know, if you've watched my other videos, I lived in New Zealand for 10 years. And I did visit Australia once. Actually, I went there and we were there for like 10 days, and I was like really deathly ill for like 8 of them. But I still went. So I've been to Australia, but I have never heard of Redgum. And they were active from 1975 to 1990. And they were made up of singer-songwriters John Schumann, Michael Atkinson on guitars, vocals, Verity Truman on flute, vocals, and they were later joined by Hugh MacDonald on fiddle and Chris Timms on violin. So that sounds, I like folk music, so I'm quite excited to listen to this. And Wikipedia does say that they're best known for this song, I Was Only 19, which peaked at #1 on the national singles chart in the 1980s, it says. So it doesn't say the year. Okay, are we ready? Make sure you like and subscribe, and comment below on other things I should react to. I love hearing your comments. Okay, vamos. Sounds good already, doesn't it?
Mum and Dad and Denny saw the passing out parade at Puckapunyal. It was a long march from cadets. 6th Battalion was the next to turn. It was me who drew the card. We did conundrum.
So already first thoughts, I'm loving the folk vibe of that background music, but I was only 19. So, you know, I'm assuming he was 19 when he went to war, and now obviously they are showing him as an old man, maybe suffering from some PTSD. So quite a sombering moment.
To turn, it was me who drew the card. We did Canungra and Shoalwater before we left. And Townsville lined the footpaths as we marched down to the quay. This clipping from the paper shows us young and strong and clean. And there's me in me slouch hat with me SLR and greens. God help me, I was only 19. From Vungtau riding Chinooks to the dust of Newey Dad, I've been in and out of choppers now for months. We made our tents at home, VB and pin-ups on the lockers, and an Asian orange sunset through the scrub.
Oh wow, how powerful is this song? I really like it when artists are able to put their emotion in the song and convey that so beautifully. And I follow this history. They like take AI and they colorize historical photos, and a lot of it is photos from 100 years ago during World War I and World War II. And what I'm always struck by is how young, I mean, they're just children out there. And I have 3 boys, the oldest of which is a teenager, and I just couldn't imagine sending him off to war. And when you're that age, you're too young to even realize how young you are. And then, oh gosh, I didn't realize how emotional this would be.
Orange sunset through the scrub. And can you tell me, doctor, why I still can't get to sleep? And night time's just a jungle dark and a barking M16. And what's this rash that comes and goes? Can you tell me what it means? God help me, I was only 19. 4-week operation, when each step could mean your last one on 2 legs. It was a war within yourself. But you wouldn't let your mates down till they had you dusted off. So you closed your eyes and thought about something else. And then someone yelled out, "Contact!" and the bloke behind me swore. We hooked in there for hours, then it got almighty raw. And Frankie kicked to mine the day that mankind kicked the moon. God help me, he was going home in June.
Oh gosh, this is sad. It reminds me, my grandpa died in his mid-90s. And if you see my Sabaton video, Bismarck, my grandpa was in the Canadian Navy in his 20s, so just not much older than 19. And he watched his best friend die. And he was in his 90s when he told me about it, you know, so 70 years later, and it still affected him. So you can watch something like this, and war can affect us all. Oh gosh, it's and a song that's 40 years old, to even just to have that emotional effect still 40 years later, because you can imagine what you can see him, you know, thinking about his memories from the past and how hard it must be, and no matter how much time has passed, it still affects you.
He was going home in June. I can still see Frankie drinking tinnies in the Grand Hotel on a 36-hour rec leave in Buntau. And I can still see Frankie lying screaming in the jungle till the morphine came and killed the bloody row. And the Anzac legends didn't mention Martin blood and tears.
Anzac, so that's Australian and New Zealand forces. So we would, living in New Zealand, they would have an Anzac Day parade every year on Anzac Day. And that's, if you've ever seen like the royal families wearing those red poppies, that's to celebrate veterans. But Anzac Day, you would wake up super, super early, and we would go to the Auckland Domain, which is on the top of the hill in Auckland. There's this huge museum, and then there's just this big domain, and we would go. And at 6 a.m., that's when they would have like the Anzac celebration to remember all the veterans. But it's particularly, well, they call it, in World War I, it was called the Great War, and there's lots of little villages in New Zealand that had this huge memorial for the Great War. And because there were so many small towns that sent all of their boys, and they were decimated, like 90% of the boys would die and, you know, never came home. And you could imagine in a town of like 150 people where, you know, I don't know, 25 boys go and 23 of them die. Just the way that it affected the generation. But I would imagine it was the same in Australia at the time, because Australia, the way that it's set up is like all the populations around the outside, and of course you have the big towns, but most of them are just little towns, and you send all your teenage boys, your early 20s, and more than half of them don't come back. Like, you can imagine like 100 years ago how that would affect you for the rest of your life, like this guy.
Mention Martin blood and tears, and the stories that my father told me never seemed quite real. I caught some pieces in my back that I didn't even feel.
Like you said,
God help me, I was only 19. And can you tell me, doctor, why I still can't get to sleep? And why the Channel 7 chopper chills me to my feet? And what's this rash that comes and goes? Can you tell me what it means? God help me.
I wonder if these are real
I was
veterans.
only 19.
I can see why it went to number one. It's gosh, such a powerful, emotional song. Okay, team, thank you so much for listening. I gotta take a moment. Please like and subscribe and let me know what other content I should listen to. And I'll see you next time.